Day 2 and actually the final day of mandatory minicamp for the Denver Broncos practices are officially in the books. Now, they were scheduled to practice tomorrow on Thursday. However, Sean Payton said, listen, I am so satisfied and confident in what we did during OTAs. I'm going to give the team the rest of the offseason until training camp off. So the next 6 weeks from now, they're going to be off, having no or nothing to do with practices until training camp. Now, in this video, we're going to break down everything you need to know about day 2 of mandatory minicamp. Players who are looking good, players who are looking bad, and also guys who may be moving up the depth chart as well. Now, tomorrow, look for another Broncos video to drop. That one will be covering 5 players who have absolutely risen their stock and, moved up the depth chart so far during rookie minicamp, OTAs, and mandatory minicamp as well. But before we jump into the video and break down everything you need to know, I need you guys to do me a major favor, and we start off all the videos like this. Do me a favor and go follow all of the Broncos media members on Twitter, because I want to give a major shout out to them. Without them, these videos aren't possible. They work hard, each and every single day to get these highlights out for us. And again, with them or without them, these videos, I can't make them. So go follow them on Twitter. They're going to keep you guys updated with all the highlights from camp from here on out. With that being said, let's kind of dive into the video and talk about day 2 of mandatory minicamp. Now, again, like I said before, Sean Payton very, very happy with the way, the OTAs went mandatory and unmandatory, and he canceled practice tomorrow. So do not look forward to any more practice highlights, because what we have now is all you're going to get until training camp. So keep that in mind as we continue to break down videos in the future. Now, one guy who has been breaking out ever since last season is Jaquan McMillan. Now, you're going to see a lot of Bo Nix in this video, but listen, we're going to talk about Bo Nix in a little bit. Let's talk about Jaquan McMillan. Had an amazing, probably one of the plays of the day, a touchdown-saving pass breakup in the red zone. Jaquan McMillan is a guy who broke out last offseason, and then in the regular season specifically, looked like an absolute beast, right? On one play, Bo Nix was throwing off his back foot from the 6-yard line, tried to hit Brandon Johnson in the front corner of the end zone, but McMillan did, something insane, was sticky in coverage and just broke it up. Unbelievable play by Jaquan McMillan. Now, that was probably one of the best plays of the day, from this DB room, but there was still a lot more. I thought Bo Nix looked amazing, and quite honestly, he was getting the majority of first QB reps today. So that is definitely something to take into consideration when it comes to who do you think is going to be the starting quarterback day 1. Now, with that being said, Jarrett Stidham looked good as well, and I feel like the Broncos are doing their due diligence in terms of letting Bo Nix get a shot, letting Zach Wilson get a shot, letting Jarrett Stidham get a shot with the ones, and seeing who can just be the most consistent going forward. But today, Bo Nix looked really good. David Sills had a great catch as well versus, I want to say, Riley Moss. It was definitely a high point catch. Great catch radius by David Sills on that one. And Stidham also threw 2 touchdowns in the red zone period. I believe one was to Troy Franklin, and then the other one was to Blake Watson. But overall, one guy who has continued to look better and better as time goes on is the quarterbacks. Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham both had really good days. Very sharp, very quick, goes through all of their reads, their progressions, and always makes the right decision. Now, before we get even more in depth about that, do me a big favor, guys. Hit the like button so not only we can get this video out to, more Broncos fans around the world, but more importantly, subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's free. Doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and we will be covering the Broncos for the rest of the offseason. Not only tomorrow when we drop the 5 players who are breaking out, but also training camp, preseason, regular season, everything you could think of, we've got you guys covered. So make sure you guys join the family. Again, it's free, doesn't cost anything. And lastly, we will be covering, or we'll be live streaming during some games, preseason games, for the Denver Broncos. And you can find that on my Twitch. It's Matty Dubs with 3 S's, or you can find the link in the description. If you want to break down some film with me, make sure you guys go follow my Twitch. Now, let's get into some other observations. Riley Moss, although he let up a touchdown earlier, he had a great pass breakup today versus Josh Reynolds as well. Riley Moss is continuing to look better and better as time goes on, so I'm excited to see how he, continues to, make an impact on this defense going forward. We'll see, when training camp comes on, when the pads and the contact comes in, that's when we'll really be able to see how good of a player he can be for this team. Nick Bonito is another guy who was just screaming off the edge. And when you look at this team with Baron Browning and all the edge rushers that they do have, right, you see Nick Bonito kind of stand out among them when today had 2 pressures on the quarterbacks and probably would have been 2 sacks if it was contact, if it was a preseason game or a regular season game. Probably would have been 2 sacks in a row for Nick Bonito, which would have been really cool to see. I think he's maybe an up-and-coming player for them, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he starts to break out next season. Jaleel McLaughlin, he's a running back that I feel like personally has made a major jump up from last year to this season. Very nice to see, very good to see. Want to see more out of him going forward. I do believe that Bo Nix threw his first interception of the entire offseason in practices that were open to the media. So that was interesting to see. I mean, Bo Nix has been really, really conservative with the football, but also making some big-time throws in 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s. But this pick did happen, I believe, on 7-on-7s, a defensive play by Levi Wallace, who very, very underrated cornerback, does all the little things. And on this play, specifically, Bo Nix tried to, throw an absolute missile to Troy Franklin on a curl route over the middle of the field, and Levi came in, got his hand on the football, popped it up into the air, and then he came down with it as well. So yeah, Bo Nix has had some really, really good days over the past couple of weeks. Today was another one of those days. Outside that interception, I just feel like Bo Nix has everything you want in a quarterback. Now, with that being said, I feel like he's got some developing to do. I don't think he's day one starter material. I think they could start with Jarrett Stidham and then have Bo Nix continue to get better as time goes on, and don't throw him into the fire day one. But I really do like the skill set that he's brought to this Denver Broncos team. Now, listen, again, like I said, tomorrow we will be breaking down, 4, 5, 6 players that have been, rising on the depth chart, who've been breaking out so far in camp and just looking good overall. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that video. I just want to break down a couple of news and notes and highlights, observations from today's practice. But tomorrow will be more in depth in terms of who's looking good or not. So with that being said specifically, do me a favor, subscribe, join the family. It's free, doesn't cost anything. And like we said, we're going to be covering the Denver Broncos throughout the entirety of the offseason. So make sure you guys don't miss out on any videos. And with that being said, I will see you in the next update for the Broncos. Peace.